Colonel Potter, sir, my last wish is to be buried in my mother's wedding gown.
I've seen these Dodgers for 40 years, all the tricks. Dismissed!
Gary Burghoff, the voice of an entire generation's childhood, the soul of one of America's most beloved television shows, has carried a secret his entire life. At 82 years old, this man once made millions laugh, cry, and believe in the quiet strength of the overlooked. He became an icon, a legend. But the story behind that warmth, it is heartbreaking, it is tragic, and it is far more devastating than anyone ever suspected. The world saw Corporal Radar O'Reilly innocent, gentle, a boy clutching a teddy bear in the chaos of war. But the truth was different. Behind the gentle giant of M*A*S*H lies a story not glamorous, but brutal. If Gary Burghoff has ever made you smile, made you feel something real in a world that often feels cold, it like as a tribute to a man who gave everything and lost almost as much. This is the story of a boy born broken by the world, who became beloved by it, and the shocking price he paid. May 24, 1943, Bristol, Connecticut. A small city, a quiet morning, and a boy who arrived into this world already carrying a burden most people will never understand. Gary Rich Burghoff was born to Rodney Burghoff, a man who worked for a clock company, and in Burghoff, a former professional dancer who directed local theater productions. On paper, there was art in the family, a thread of creativity woven into the bloodline. But the beginning was not glamorous, but marked not by celebration, but by a cruel twist of biology. Gary was born with Poland syndrome, a rare congenital condition. 3 fingers on his left hand were significantly underdeveloped, shorter, smaller, misshapen. He was also born with a club foot. Already, his body felt like it was working against him. What few people know is that Gary turned those limitations into fuel. At just 5 years old, he began studying tap dance, not despite his club foot, but because of it. A defiant act, a refusal to accept what the world had handed him. He became a drummer, a jazz musician. He learned to play primarily with his right hand, adapting, compensating, creating workarounds that would take most people a lifetime to figure out. His older brother David shared the household, but Gary's real companions were the creatures of the natural world. At age 8, he bred angelfish. He freed a flock of ducks from a neighbor's farm. At 14, he was working in a pet shop. The connection to animals was not a phase. It was bone-deep. School was another battlefield. Gary struggled academically. His guidance counselor advised him to abandon his dream of acting and seek a more stable profession. It is heartbreaking when the people meant to open doors are the first to slam them shut. During his sophomore year, the family moved to Delavan, Wisconsin, where his father had secured another job. New town, new loneliness. But Gary adapted. He joined the Bud Wilbur Orchestra, playing drums in Milwaukee clubs while still a teenager. In 1961, his painting Men of Jazz won him the Hallmark Award and represented Wisconsin in the Hallmark Student Art Exhibit in Washington, D.C. He was 18. Already, quietly, he was becoming someone extraordinary. After high school, Gary Burghoff made the leap that would define his life. He moved to New York City to study drama at HB Studio in Greenwich Village. But dreams don't pay rent. To survive, he sold underwear at Saks Fifth Avenue during the day. At night, he played jazz at local clubs with a trio he formed called the We Three, performing at spots like the Duplex and Nag's Head Inn. The grind was real. The rejection was constant. But Gary kept showing up. He worked regional theater relentlessly, performing in productions of Finian's Rainbow, The Sound of Music, and Look Homeward, Angel. He toured. He hustled. He built something, one small role at a time. Then came 1967. Everything changed. On March 7, 1967, at Theater 80 in New York's East Village, Charles Schulz's comic strip characters came to life for the very first time on stage, and Gary Burghoff was cast as Charlie Brown in the original off-Broadway production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. The show became a phenomenon. Over the course of 3 years, 1 year in New York, 2 in Los Angeles, Burghoff performed the role more than 1,000 times. The production won the Outer Critics Circle Award. It was a career catapult. But the real earthquake was still coming. Director Robert Altman noticed Burghoff during one of his Charlie Brown performances in Los Angeles. Altman offered him a screen test, and in 1970, Gary Burghoff made his feature film debut in M*A**S*H, a film made on a budget of just $3 million. That would go on to gross $81.6 million at the box office. The film won the Palme d'Or at the 1970 Cannes Film Festival, received 5 Academy Award nominations, and won for Best Adapted Screenplay. Burghoff was the only actor from the film asked to reprise his role when CBS turned M*A**S*H into a television series in 1972. Not Donald Sutherland, not Elliot Gould, not Robert Duvall. Gary alone, over 174 episodes. Burghoff shaped Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly into one of the most beloved characters in television history. He personally suggested the character's first name, Walter, after a childhood friend who never understood a joke. He introduced the iconic teddy bear. He brought his own love of wildlife into the character's soul. By 1977, the world finally recognized what his castmates already knew. Gary Burghoff won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. He wasn't there to accept it. He was fishing. Alan Alda took the stage on his behalf and delivered words that revealed everything about the man behind Radar. The show offered him a contract reportedly worth up to $4 million. Burghoff turned it down, not because he didn't value the work, but because his family was falling apart, and he chose them. This is the part of the story that Hollywood doesn't tell. This is where the glamour ends, and the real Gary Burghoff begins, the collapse of the first marriage. Gary Burghoff married Jonna Gale on December 25, 1971, Christmas Day, a romantic gesture, a promise. Their daughter, Jenna Gale Burghoff, was born in 1975. For a brief window, life looked complete. But the demands of M*A**S*H were relentless. Strict schedules, long hours on set, public recognition that followed him everywhere, even when he was simply trying to be a father. The emotional toll of the show's content, war, death, loss, rendered in dark comedy, was compounding inside him, season after season. By the late 1970s, the marriage was in ruins. According to his 2009 memoir, To M*A**S*H and Back, the breakdown left Burghoff in a deep depression. He would arrive on set with headaches. His body ached. Fatigue soaked into everything. The emotional turmoil made him difficult to work with. He feuded with castmates, specifically with Alan Alda. The divorce was finalized in 1979. The same year, Burghoff walked away from M*A**S*H. It was not a quiet exit. It was an escape, the post-fame wilderness. After leaving the show, the offers dried up faster than Gary expected. He turned down several sitcoms, including a part on Newhart. He launched a chain of frozen yogurt shops in Hawaii in the late 1970s. It had limited success. The venture quietly failed. He appeared on game shows, Match Game, Hollywood Squares, Liars Club, but these were not the roles of a man at the peak of his career. They were the roles of a man searching for footing. It is heartbreaking when the brightest light in a room suddenly finds itself in the dark. The second marriage. The second loss. In 1985, Gary Burghoff married Elizabeth Bostrom. 2 sons followed, Miles and Jordan. For a time, there was hope again. A new chapter, dedicated to raising a family and feeding his soul through art and nature. But the fractures were still there. Beneath the surface, Burghoff was navigating a life increasingly disconnected from the world that had once celebrated him. The financial pressures mounted. By the early 1990s, he was facing serious financial difficulties. The frozen yogurt empire was gone. The acting roles had thinned to a trickle. The man who had once been offered $4 million was struggling to keep the lights on. He turned to faith. He turned to God, and he prayed for direction. And what came back, quietly, unexpectedly, was a brush in his hand, the silent battle within. The depression that began on the M*A**S*H set didn't leave when the cameras stopped rolling. It followed him. It shaped him. The burnout he cited when leaving the show was not simply creative exhaustion. It was a man falling apart from the inside. The marriage to Elizabeth Bostrom ended in divorce in 2005. 2 marriages, 2 divorces, 3 children across 2 households. A career that had once put him alongside Alan Alda, now reduced to brand endorsements, BP gasoline, IBM computers, and a .com website called PriceRadar.com. The world saw a man who had faded. The truth was different. Gary Burghoff was rebuilding, silently, painfully, without an audience. The weight he carried on set. There is one detail about Gary Burghoff that speaks to the depth of his quiet suffering. Throughout his years on M*A*S*H, he went to great lengths to hide the deformity of his left hand. Directors framed shots carefully. He held props in his right hand. He angled his body. He adapted again and again so that millions of viewers would never know. He did this not out of vanity. He did it because he had spent his entire life being told, by his body, by his counselors, by the world, that he was not enough. And every single day on that set, he proved them wrong, silently, invisibly, painfully. At 82 years old, Gary Burghoff is alive. He is quiet. He is largely out of the public eye. And in many ways, he has finally found the peace that eluded him for decades. His net worth is estimated at $6 million, modest by Hollywood standards, but a testament to a man who walked away from a $4 million contract to protect his family, and who rebuilt his life through creativity rather than compromise. The painting became everything. Since the early 1990s, Burghoff has been a respected wildlife artist, working primarily in oils. His paintings focus on North American animals, eagles, mountain lions, close-up studies of animal eyes meant to capture something like a soul. He has exhibited at galleries across the United States and donated works to auctions, benefiting wildlife preservation societies, including the Rainforest Action Network. In 1994, he served as a judge in the federal duck stamp competition, once called the Birdman of Malibu for the wildlife sanctuary he maintained in his yard. His connection to nature has remained the most constant thread in his life. He wrote over 100 songs, winning the ASCAP Award for Excellence 3 times. He published his memoir in 2009, To M*A*S*H and Back, My Life in Poems and Songs, a raw, honest account of everything the cameras never captured. In 1999, he hosted the PBS series Pets, Part of the Family, earning a Daytime Emmy nomination. He holds multiple U.S. patents, including for a fishing device called Chum Magic and a new type of fishing pole. At his core, he is a man who creates, who finds meaning in the small, quiet acts of making something from nothing. His final acting role came in 2010 in the faith-based film Daniel's Lot. After that, he stepped away entirely. A reclusive life in California, splitting time with Connecticut, the state where it all began. 3 children, a life rebuilt from the ashes of depression, divorce, and financial ruin. A legacy that lives on not just in a character he played, but in the paintings, the patents, the songs, and the animals he saved. At 82, Gary Burghoff stands as proof that the quietest voices often carry the heaviest truths. From Bristol, Connecticut to the stages of New York, from the trenches of a fictional Korean War to the silence of a California life, rebuilt from the ground up, this man has carried more than any of us ever knew. He was born broken. The world told him to stay that way. He refused, not with fireworks, not with headlines, but with a teddy bear, a paintbrush, and a stubborn belief that something good could still be made from the pieces. If this story touched your heart, leave a tribute below. Share a moment when Gary Burghoff's quiet strength reminded you that resilience, real, unglamorous, honest resilience, still exists.